Ladies and gentlemen, do not try to overlook this. David Pollock saying what he had to say, and all these other announcers and analysts saying what they got to say. It is the definition of poking the bear, and the bear is Nick Saban. When I was growing up, it wasn't like it is nowadays for kids. I didn't have a smartphone, or heck, I didn't even have a phone in general. There was no such thing as Wi-Fi. There was none of this video games 24/7. I had, and as corny as it is to say, the good old outdoors. So whenever I was bored, I would either get on my bike and ride to my friend's house, see if they were home. I would go to my pond, or I'd start a fire. I don't know what it was. I always liked starting a fire. And one thing that sticks with me till this day, and I remember it like it was yesterday, my granddad would always tell me, Matthew, if you keep playing around with that fire, you're eventually going to get burnt. To make a long story short, it eventually happened. I got burnt, and I got burnt really bad. Whoa, hold on. I know what you're sitting there saying. Yo, Matt, why are you sharing this story with me? I don't care about your childhood, and I get that. But applying that analogy to what just happened in college football, they're not playing with fire. They're more so poking the bear. I think it goes hand in hand. You play with fire, you're going to get burnt. And if you continue to poke the bear, eventually he's going to bite you. The bear in this situation goes by the name of, and I'm sure some of you may have or may have not heard of this guy, Nick Saban. What exactly am I alluding to though when I say people are quote unquote poking the bear? What am I referring to? Well, my friend, that's a great question, and let's just say a lot of people that work for ESPN and all these other companies out there, they're taking it a little too far. And when I say it, I'm talking about the narrative that's being thrown out there about Nick Saban in Alabama. In tonight's video, we're going to talk all about that. Also, got another minor topic to speak on, and that's your good old boy Spencer Rattler. He just made a huge announcement. It's going to be a jam-packed video. Well, maybe not really a jam-packed video, but you get the point. You already know how the intro goes. Blah, blah, blah. Shut the crap up, man. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. By the way, I know this is kind of random, but what about the Alabama basketball team? Pretty good this year. I think they're going to make a run for the Final Four. We're not here so much to talk about basketball. First things first, I say we kick it off with your good old boy Rattler. That was corny. I don't know why I said it like that. We got to talk about Spencer Rattler. Yesterday, out of nowhere, he posted about a 2-minute video snippet, highlight reel, and yeah, long story short, he announced he's coming back to South Carolina next season, which I guess is cool. I see why he did it. It's a cool thing to say, hey, I'm coming back and get the fan base excited. But I mean, what was his other options? It's not like anyone in the NFL was going to draft him. I like Rattler. I think he's a cool dude, and he got a bad image and a bad look from that Netflix documentary, but he's not that great of a quarterback, and I know that's going to rub some people the wrong way, but you got to look at the entire season this year. Matter of fact, let's take a look at it. Most people are going to remember him for that game against Tennessee where he played phenomenal. Game of his life. He had like 6 touchdowns, 0 INTs. But outside of that Tennessee game, when you look at a season as a whole, it wasn't too impressive. He only completed 66% of his passes compared to his recent year at Oklahoma. That's an 8% decrease. Yes, he had 6 touchdowns in that one game, but for the season, 18 total touchdowns to 12 interceptions. Not too good. 12 interceptions was tied for 111th in the country. And overall, when it comes down to his QBR based on a scale of 1 to 100, he was slightly above average at 59.3. Check out this tweet though from Big Game Boomer. He stated, Spencer Rattler coming back to South Carolina for another year just officially made the Gamecocks a contender in the East. Second place is a serious possibility. Notice how he didn't even mention first place. He just said second place. That just goes to show and prove you how good Georgia's going to be, not just next year, but the years to come. Just like the recent years, Georgia will continue to dominate the East. As far as it goes for Rattler next season, I don't have too much to say about it. The Rattler experience, though, I enjoy watching it because sometimes he's good, but sometimes he's terrible. It is what it is, and I'm excited for him to come back because it is entertaining to watch. Let me know your thoughts on that down below. Do you even think Rattler coming back is a huge deal? Is he that great of a player that he could take South Carolina to a 10-win team? Let me know. But finally, moving on to the main topic, the main encore, the main reason clicked onto the video, we gotta talk about Nick Saban. All right, let me give you the brief run through, and I mean the very brief run through. Look, we get it. I'm not gonna harp on this and give you a backstory for 8 to 10 minutes as to how Alabama had a disappointment of a season. It was embarrassing, and Nick Saban, he's gonna be seeking revenge. We get it. I'm sure you've heard it on ESPN 1,000 times. I'm sure your crazy delusional local Alabama fan has told you it also 2,000 times. Long story short, Alabama didn't have that great of a season. It happens. Not even Michael Jordan won a championship every single year. He had some good runs, but he didn't win a championship every single year. You just can't do it. It's impossible. On Monday night, though, during the college football championship, while all was going on, guess who made an appearance, and I was shocked to see him there? Nick Saban. Even when Alabama does not make it to the championship game, they still find a way to include Nick Saban. You gotta love it. And at halftime of this game, and this had everyone on Twitter, Instagram, social media freaking out, David Pollock said, and I quote, "Georgia has taken over college football." And when he said this, Nick Saban just gave him one of those looks where he was like, okay. My first impression of it, Nick Saban was like, all right, I'm going to remember that. I'll keep that in the back of my mind. You got to understand something, and I get it, and I'm sure many of you are the same way as me. Nick Saban is the ultimate competitor, and I'm in the same shoes. I don't care if we're eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I will try to eat it faster than you. I do not care. Getting back on track here with Nick Saban, if David Pollock would have said this and Nick Saban was done and retired, I don't think it would have bothered him or rubbed him the wrong way. Because think about it. If Saban was retired and David Pollock said this next to him, Saban, he wouldn't be too upset about it because he wouldn't have a horse in the race. But, and I have a big but, however, Saban is not retired. He does have a horse in the race. And I don't think some of y'all actually get it. I think a lot of you are going, Matt, you're overhyping this, you're gaslighting it, you're thinking too much out of it. And I don't think I am, because I'll offer it into a better perspective so you can understand. This is the same thing, the equivalent to you and your friend, you're sitting beside each other, and you both have a crush on a girl, and she's sitting there talking to you about your friend going, yeah, he's just bigger, stronger, faster, and better than all the other dudes out there. He's the best. Now, let me ask you a question. That wouldn't make you too happy, would it? I mean, if you got a crush on a girl and she's sitting here hyping up your best friend to your face, I hope that wouldn't make you happy. I mean, that's good for your friend, but deep down, it's going to hurt you, and you're going to remember that. Ladies and gentlemen, do not try to overlook this. David Pollock saying what he had to say, and all these other announcers and analysts saying what they got to say, it is the definition of poking the bear, and the bear is Nick Saban. You got to think about this. If Alabama finished the season 8-5, I would understand saying all this. But let's not try to act like Alabama still didn't have a good season. They finished 11-2. Did they slip up twice on the road against two top 10 teams that are really good and hard places to play in? Yes, they did. Was there some other embarrassing moments throughout this year where this Bama team did not play up to their potential? Yes. But at the end of the day, I have to remind you guys, we're talking about Alabama, and there's 4 people you never count out in sports. Tom Brady, LeBron James, Tiger Woods, and Nick Saban. I don't make the rules. I just follow them. I also don't want you to get it twisted. For my Georgia fans, I'm going to continue to give you your flowers because you've earned it. You don't deserve it. You've earned it. There's a difference from deserved and earned. A lot of people feel like they're entitled and deserve stuff, where some people, they just take it. They earn it. Georgia has earned it. They were by far the best team from week 1 to week whatever, 16, 17. And now with Georgia going back to back, I'm about to start putting them in that gold standard category with Alabama. Because now when you think about how to operate and model a college football team, you think of Georgia, and that's the definition of the gold standard. The gold standard is what all these other coaches at all these other schools, they're trying to do at their school. And you mean to tell me coaches aren't taking notice of Georgia and trying to at least take some notes? Get out of here with that. You should be taking notes, and there's nothing to be ashamed about it. Georgia had a great season, and they had 2 awesome back-to-back championships. Georgia fans, congratulations yet again. I enjoyed watching it just as much as you guys. But to say they've taken over college football, that's a little too much, at least in my humble opinion. They have not taken over college football. This isn't a dynasty. It's 2 championships. Calm down. The bottom line is, even with Georgia going back to back, when you think of college football, go ask a casual fan in a different country. They think of Alabama first. They don't think of Georgia. And I'm not sold on the fact that even if Georgia won it again next year, went back to back to back, people would still think of Georgia when they think of college football. It's Alabama. I can't believe David Pollock said this with Nick Saban about 6 feet away from him. I am very curious. Let me know your thoughts down below. But